Today on Reservations Required, the wild and wonderful cuisine of Chef David Burke. Take an exclusive tour of his enormously popular new restaurant and learn about his unique and award-winning approach to cooking. Plus, Ed Levine finds our tastemakers, including Chef Todd English, taking the theatrical side of fine dining to a new extreme.
Welcome to Reservations Required. I'm Jackie Maloof. Once called the Robin Williams of food, award-winning chef David Burke is known for his whimsical taste combinations. And those edgy, if somewhat irreverent creations are packing the house at his new restaurant. He opened it with business partner Donatella Arpaia, and it's aptly named David Burke and Donatella.
Located on the Tony Upper East Side of New York City, David Burke and Donatella takes up the entire first floor of a 19th century mansion. Though the space was converted into a restaurant decades ago, it was entirely redesigned by the partners, who transformed it into a place that's fancy, formal, and bursting with style.
David, how did you get dubbed the Robin Williams of food?
You know, that was a few years back. I've been called a lot of things. Bruce Springsteen of chefs, Robin Williams of food. I think because of the way I come up with ideas very quickly. And Robin is very quick on his feet when he does interviews, and sometimes I do cooking classes, and we'll be focused on one thing real quick, and then all of a sudden I'm over here, and, you know, similar to the way he's all over the map. And so is the food that I do.
It's very out of the box.
Donatella, you're a lawyer. What made you want to be a restaurateur?
I had a father who was a restaurateur, and I grew up in the business, so he obviously did not want me in the business. And I became an attorney. I loved the law, but after 8 months of practice, it was calling me. I grew up in it, and I think it's something that chooses you.
How did you two come together?
Well, we met through a mutual customer that both was a fan of my restaurant, Bellini, and a longtime fan of David's. And I was looking for a partner, a chef partner. I definitely wanted someone who had the same passion that I had for the front as the back. And they introduced us. And we just ate a bowl of pasta and became partners.
Any surprises that happened while you were attempting to open and construct?
Well, the building's 150 years old.
The money pit.
So every time we hit a wall, we found another problem. Then, you know,
structurally, there were a lot more problems than we anticipated.
A very challenging space, especially in the back of the house, in the kitchen to design.
How much did it cost to open David Burke and Donatella?
I don't know what she spent, but
I don't think we want to know how much we spent. I think our original plan was to put in about 300 each.
Both my houses are wrapped in yellow tape.
But it's at about 1.5 million. But by the time we still owe people money, so it'll be probably close to 2 million by the time we're done.
You guys went through some very interesting names before you came up with David Burke and Donatella. Let's talk a little bit about that.
We actually went through a lot of names. There's a lot
of the names determine the artwork in the place. The first name was the Joker.
Joko.
Joko in Italian, and/or Joker.
But we thought it would sound too Italian, especially with me being Italian. We didn't want there to be any confusion.
And then we had a name called Loki, L-O-K-I. Loki is the god of mischief and fire.
Yes.
Hence the red rods, because Loki's hair is this bright red fire.
And it sounded like low-key.
Yeah, and a sushi bar.
It just didn't work.
So,
and then we did initials. We thought something about, because it really was two personalities coming together. So we thought about DB and DBD, but with the other restaurants in the city, it would cause confusion.
And then
the two people, you know, two stubborn people. They didn't want to give in. We'll put them both.
Plus, if it didn't work as a restaurant, we had a perfect name for a hair salon. So we could have just converted it.
How would you define the cuisine?
David Burke Unplugged.
It's an ever-changing, it's a modern American food,
cuisine.
and that's what it is. And it's a combination of the way I think, things I like, my experience, my travels, my approach, and I'm still a student I'm still, you know, playing around and coming up with different things. Every menu that we do.
We need more pasta on the menu, but other than that, I have no problem.
Donatelle, I'm very excited about the dining room tour.
Thank
it's
you.
so beautiful.
Thank you.
You've done a
Thank
great
you.
job.
Thank
You worked
you.
with a designer?
Yes, Matthew Sudak, M Design. I just told him what the feel I wanted, which was, this is Upper East Side, it's a very proper neighborhood, and I wanted a youthful, hip downtown, but at the same time,
A little
uptown.
old school, exactly.
And it's hard to achieve that. The bar is a very small, narrow place, so it was very important to us to open it up, which is why the designer chose all white, which I love.
And let's talk a little bit about the artwork.
The artwork was, because we were initially thinking about a game theme and a game name, the designer found these playing cards, all done by an artist, Tony Mewison. He's a 70-year-old man who lives in London, who's designed stamps for the Queen, very well known. And he wrote this book, The Key to the Kingdom. And it's playing cards based on nursery rhymes, so there's a very whimsical touch to it.
Very
And-
much like David's food.
Exactly.
Donatelle, this is so beautiful. Now, this is, you've
This
kind
is
of,
a little mezzanine area. We have an art piece made, commissioned for this room by an artist. It's the only work of art not by Tony Mewison, and it was made for this color scheme. It's conservative liberal, which is kind of like David and I, although we argue
balance.
who's conservative, who's liberal. Depends on the day.
this is the wine room.
This is my wine room.
It's elegant. It's
Isn't it cute?
very-
It's a showpiece. We have backup downstairs, but I love this. And when you go into the dining room, customers can see the wine from the inside.
Who
It's a lot of
designed
fun.
the list?
I did.
The main dining room is beautiful.
Thank
There's
you.
so many wonderful elements.
The beautiful thing about this dining room is no one expects the high ceilings when you walk in, with the windows, mirrors in the back, and the Roman shades, with a little bit of an Asian touch to it.
The chandelier.
The chandelier is the only thing left from the old restaurant.
But you did something a little special.
We dipped it in, we nickel plated the whole thing to modernize it, and we added the red shades. But Matthew loved the chandelier, and I think it's like the old world and new world coming together.
I understand. I'm now going to get a tour of the kitchen.
Yes.
Where is Chef Burke?
Be prepared, it's a tight squeeze.
All right. David, we're going up
Yeah.
into
We're going
your
into
kitchen.
my shoebox kitchen.
Okay.
It's very compact but very efficient.
Hi,
And,
guys. So,
This
Chef,
is Jackie,
this is,
guys. Steve,
this
you
is-
gotta watch.
Nice to meet you. This is your
This is my
piano,
spot,
Your
yes.
main area.
This is my. Well, the good thing about a small kitchen, I work here. All the food comes here. From down, this is the hotline, and the call line's right behind me. So
Okay.
I can basically grab from here and here, and everything gets picked up on the trays. All our stacked up trays are there, and goes down the steps and out. So it's quick from here to dining room is quick.
It smells incredible in here. I see some salmon working over there.
That's salmon, Dover sole. We have a tomato alphabet soup today for a special, which is fun because I just went up to one of the customers and said, "When was the last time you had alphabet soup?" But we make the alphabets ourselves.
You made these alphabet here?
You kidding? Yeah. Everything's made here.
How did you do this? Is it a little machine?
Little man. It's one of our signature dishes.
It's beautiful. Served on the
Marble stone.
classic marble.
Miso vinaigrette, curry oil with soy, and chili oil with chapstick.
So this is the tuna and salmon tartare.
Tuna tartare, salmon tartare, creme
Oh.
fraiche. At dinner,
Oh.
we have it with caviar.
Never walk a hungry woman into a dessert area. Now, what's over here? These are, I see
These are
little
our-
frozen
yes.
bits of goodness.
These are what we call DVD 6. There are 3 sorbets, 3 ice creams, that
Oh.
are, and then we serve them on these.
What is this?
That is a cheesecake dipped in 3 chocolates with bits of Reese's Pieces.
Oh,
And this one is dipped in Heath Bar Crunch and bittersweet chocolate.
David.
Salud.
Thank you. Salud.
Coming up, Chef David Burke puts himself on the plate and his food on the line. But first, the latest culinary drama.
It's been said the best restaurants blur the line between food and theater. At the Supper Club these days, the line has been eliminated entirely with the opening of Chef's Theater, where celebrity chefs prepare a meal on stage while singers and dancers do their thing. As any Broadway producer will tell you, if you want to sell tickets, you've got to hire a star. And Todd English is a big star. First making a name for himself as chef owner of Olives, Todd English now runs a culinary empire. And to his credit, he's not afraid to take risks. There's always been a lot of show in your food. I mean, even in the presentation, you know, it's dramatic. And so for you, this is not that much of a stretch.
I always love the theatrics of it. I think that, you know, in my era of, in that era of cooking, it started to be that you spent your money going out to a theater, you know, and maybe some dinner, or you went to have dinner, and that was your theater. And so I always believed that you had to give them that. That was our responsibility as chefs, is to give them that theater, you know, on the plate. It was a show every night. We performed every night. And you do in the restaurant business. These days you perform and you're judged on that performance. Just like theater every night.
How did you get involved in Chef's Theater?
When they asked me to do it, I thought, what a brilliant idea. I thought fun, it is a natural extension, the ultimate degree of what we try to do every day in our restaurants.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Chef's Theater. New York's musical feast.
My feeling was that what we could give the audience that they can't get anyplace else is a situation where you saw a chef cook live before you, and then you got to eat the meal. You could go to their restaurant and eat their food, you could watch them on the Food Network, but there's no place where you could do both. And the concept of Chef's Theater is that you could do both there.
When you walk into a restaurant, the first thing that you see is the kind of opening act curtain. The room, the lighting, the music, it all creates a theatrical environment for which the audience or the guest or the patron experiences an evening. So I think in many ways the world of fine dining and the experience of eating in a restaurant and going to the theater are actually very similar.
Marty Bell, the producer, took me into the space and showed me this beautiful room. And I realized very quickly that I'd be not only just lighting a show on stage, but I'd be lighting the entire room of a restaurant. You know, this beautiful room with gold leaf and you know, deep blue ceilings and all of this silver and gold detail. And I knew instantly that, you know, the first thing I said to Marty was, well, we're not just going to light the stage. You know, this is a bigger design than that.
Welcome to our kitchen, the Chef's Theater kitchen, ladies and gentlemen.
Is there a level of fear or scariness in this thing that's different than you feel when you open a restaurant?
Oh yeah, there is a whole nother level of entertainment that is here, which are very professional entertainers. I mean, you got Broadway, you've got, you know, people that have won awards on Broadway for singing and dancing and what they do. So there's certainly a whole nother sort of angst, if you will, about, you know, performing.
Todd had an understanding of being on stage. Not that Todd has worked in a theater before, but a sense of self and a sense of who he is as a man and as a chef that could give us this wonderful lift and this wonderful energy to open our first week of Chef's Theater with.
What are you feeling at that moment when the lights go down and you're on?
Help us welcome our wonderful chef de cuisine, Todd English.
It's unfortunately it happens very fast. So I have a lot of time to think about it because it's a little nerve-wracking. It's definitely like, oh boy, here I go.
Right, it's a little different than opening the doors to the restaurant and watching the people come in.
Right. It's that moment of sort of, well, I played a little football, and the only thing I can describe it is, you know, when you took your first hit, then you're fine.
Todd has wonderful instincts as a chef, which in many ways is a theatrical kind of persona. He is obviously Todd English, he's not playing a character, but when he's in his kitchen, when he's in his world, he is the lead character.
Then there's the audience. They're willing to spend up to $125 per person, and they know a thing or two about cooking. When I saw the show, the room was packed with foodies, including TV food personality Sissy Biggers.
So many of us now are foodies, And we really want to know, how do you cut that onion and go this way and go that way? And because we're cooking in our kitchens and our friends are standing there. So I think that it's got combination, it's tip driven, it's entertainment driven, and by the way, food was amazing.
Have you changed the menu sort of in the few days that you've been doing it?
I haven't. No, we did it once. We found something that we felt would work, you know, here with a soup, you know, a la chowder thing that I do, and then you know, and a beef tenderloin with wild mushroom ragu and oxtail. It's like a big banquet.
By no means is Todd English the only chef with a taste for performing. In fact, you'll find plenty of hams in many restaurants. And some are now eager to join the cast of Chef's Theater. I'm talking guys like Marcus Samuelson, Jacques Pepin, and Tyler Florence. So Tyler, you've signed on for this.
I'm so excited about this. I mean, the whole idea about Chef's Theater is absolutely catching fire. The nights are selling out one at a time, and it's like a domino effect. One chef after another, it's catching on like crazy, and people are really talking about it around town.
What's been your favorite moment of Chef's Theater?
It's something I always wanted to do on Broadway, and I'm doing it tonight. And it's right after my little tricks of the trade moment.
You know, but somebody loves you. You know, but till somebody cares.
There's that bit of magic.
There's a magic, yeah.
That's sort of attached to every food experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, and that magic is I think the part that captures them.
Purists, you know, sort of cooking purists might scoff at this, right? They'd say, oh, you know, chefs belong in the kitchen, putting out the food. Look, you get that even when...
I really think, I hope, that's changing. I think that the dawn of that era is gone. I think there's a new era that's happening, which is really the fact that people do recognize that, you know, chefs are, you know, the old example I use is, does, you know, Signore Ferrari put every bolt in every car that he makes, you know? And no. Does Ralph Lauren stitch every stitch that he puts in every clothes? No. We have to think like business people, and the respect for that is much different now. I mean, we're still artists. So, no matter who it is, if it's John George or Charlie Parton, whatever, Todd English, Wolfgang Puck, we have to have a certain label, our label now, put on that.
Right, there's a level of quality that comes with your brand.
Exactly.
Ah, the culinary arts and the performing arts. Two sides of the same coin? It appears that way at the Supper Club, where every night, by the time the curtain comes down, they blur the line somewhere between Cabernet and Cabaret.
And the hot chef de cuisine, Todd English!
What's so wonderful about Chef's Theater is not only do they learn something about the art of cooking, but they leave with these wonderfully full stomachs and souls that have been enriched by music, by song and dance, and food. And you know, as Shakespeare once said, if music be the food of love, play on.
Next, a delectable dinner with David and Donatella.
I am so excited about this meal. I'm starving. Oh my word!
This is the first course that we give to people when they sit down. It changes every night. What you have is a parfait of kumquats candied, foie gras mousse, and port wine jelly with kumquats and cornflake deep-fried Armagnac grapes.
Beautiful. I love your imagination. Phenomenal. They're are so many different elements that become its own thing, its own balance.
It's
speechless.
rich, it's sweet, and then you have the citrus. And Donatello's got a lobster flan with lobster home fries.
There's the egg.
And it's with a moody egg head there. This is crab cappuccino.
Oh, wow.
And we brought another one as well. And these are warm Kumamoto oysters with a lobster glaze and watercress.
And served in these beautiful peppercorns.
Peppercorns are there so that when it's underneath your nose, you smell it, it opens your senses, and then you start to taste.
Kind of halfway between Rockefeller and Ray.
Those are called David's Rockefeller.
Did you just make that up?
Yeah.
Now we're getting ready for our appetizers. Teddy, thank you very much for making a little bit of extra room on the table. Walk me through the Angry Lobster, because this is one of the dishes that everyone is talking about.
This is Angry Lobster, which we take live, we cut on a bandsaw to keep it very fresh. Then it hits the sauteed pan. It gets coated in spices we call angry flour, which has chili peppers, a little paprika, some barbecue spices, and sauteed in what you call lobster oil. Then when it comes out of the pan, we take the oil, we throw in basil leaves, and they get crunchy. And red pepper flakes, lemon zest, garlic.
Beautiful. Served on a bed of nails. There's a real kick to that.
Yes.
Some nice forward in the mouth heat. What is that, a little silver monkey?
Yep.
Again, very playful.
It's our monkey.
That's a monkey. He sits on top of a parfait similar to what you had as your muse. Here is the foie gras terrine, kumquats and deep fried grapes. This is how we serve it as an appetizer. You had an amuse part of it, and it comes with the toast, walnut, and rice.
Take a little bit of this.
A little bit of that.
A little bit of the foie gras. Oh,
that's a winning dish, yes.
Now this is another signature dish.
This dish dates back to 1987
Were you
at the
like the
River
first
Cafe.
one to do the tuna tartare?
And then, well, I
Where
just
was
come
that,
back
Chef?
from Paris studying pastry. That's why we made it in the shape of a parfait, and using the ring molds that the pastry chefs in Paris were using at the time. And so we have a layer of tuna, a layer of salmon, and a layer of caviar and creme fraiche.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Thank you.
Oh, so good. And what are these chips?
They're potato chips, waffle potato chips.
This is really one of our most popular dishes.
Yeah, I'll split it with you. These are the Benedicts. That is a black olive paste. Potato pancakes, chorizo, scallops, quail eggs, chorizo oil, lobster foam.
Chef, the entree is coming.
They are here.
Oh my.
That is a unique filet mignon on the bone,
I've never seen filet mignon on the bone.
we created up in the Bronx. It's called the Bronx cut at a meat fabrication plant. And no one's had this before. This is a new cut of meat. You see, it becomes a little bit of a roast on the bone.
Very simple, very classic.
Different parts.
Very soft. Okay, I'm about to dig into the lobster steak in the shape of a filet mignon.
What it is, it's a 2-pound lobster. We take all the meat out of the shell raw. We puree some of the meat with butter and bind the rest of the big pieces. We put it in the mold, the butter sets, gets wrapped in a piece of foil, and we saute it like a filet mignon. It's a very unique dish.
Chef, I've heard so much about your whimsy and your kind of sometimes wacky judged combinations, but I wasn't expecting there to be this kind of balance and this kind of symmetry with this many different things. It's amazing.
A lot of these dishes I've worked on for years, back and
edit
forth,
yourself.
and you have to edit yourself. And it's daring because sometimes you get criticized for creating something that may not appear to work, but they don't give it a chance.
Well,
or they
on
don't get
paper and in the mouth,
Yeah.
totally different things. It's like looking at clothing, a piece of beautiful clothing on the hanger, and then seeing it fall on your body.
And the salmon?
The salmon is rubbed with ginger, cooked. Underneath it has Chinese sausage and mustard greens and little vegetables wrapped in wonton skins, octopus.
And where do I put the...
The XO sauce is to put on by piece or whatever you like to do. It's a relish. It's the Chinese answer to wasabi.
Is it really crazy hot?
No, it's not that hot. It's more fish fragrant, and it has a smokiness to it due to the dryness of the scallops. A really high-end shark fin scallop.
Oh.
It's a pain in the neck to make.
Ooh,
It's
that's
got
good.
a-
That'd wake you up.
You ready for a happy ending?
Yeah. I've saved a little bit of room for dessert. Oh, thank you so much. What is this?
Camphor. This is.
It's a chocolate praline tort with homemade toasted marshmallows.
It's almost like s'mores. And that's the panna cotta?
The butterscotch panna cotta.
That's the bomb.
With, you call those meringue cigarettes?
Yes.
Curried meringue.
Ah.
There's a layer of curried cocoa jelly on the top of that acts as a vanilla or cinnamon wood as a spice.
It enhances.
And that has become our most talked about dessert.
And this is a coconut.
I'm a coconut freak, so.
This is coconut cake with strawberry consomme.
I love the presentation of this, you two.
With a pineapple mousse,
Where
pineapple
did
chip.
you get this kind of little
I bought
beaker?
this at Museum of Modern Art when I was shopping down across the street from Balthazar one day.
This is the famous bubblegum whipped cream
Yep.
to go with the tree of
Cheesecake
cheesecake lollipop.
You either love it or you hate it, but you definitely talk about it.
Should they be dipped in
Yeah,
here?
you should dip it in there.
Okay.
Go crazy.
Great. Very good.
Do you love our petite four and a petite four?
I do. No, that's in a little stove.
Yeah. Which translates to petit four. Which means to bake. Or 04 is a classic word for oven.
What's this little apple one at the bottom
That's
here?
blue cheese and pear boat.
That is such a palate cleansing.
That's a
chef
nice
is
way to
very
end.
talented.
Between this and this, with your coffee.
This is a showpiece in itself.
What we've had generally, what would this cost per person?
Without beverages or alcohol, about $60 per person.
That's great. Now, this comes with every...
That are the specials,
menu.
and that's a tasting menu, and those are my chef notes.
They're the scribbles
my-
of an eccentric, wonderful madman.
That's right.
This is an
That's
artist. Fantastic.
And it's a
That's
little
it.
souvenir signed by David.
That's great.
What have you always wanted to do and you haven't had a chance to do yet? And I just blurted out, I want to build a wooden boat.